As a small trader, I've made a couple $1,000s off of the CS2 skin market over the past couple months, and so it got me thinking, what if I just dedicated all my time to it? How much time can you expect to put in, and how much can you expect to make? Because there are a lot of people that do this for a full-time job, but it's really not for everyone, and although it seems very attractive, I found there's a good number of things that not anyone really tells you about it, both the good and the bad. And so in this video, you'll find out if trading is a viable side hustle for you. Alright, so there's 4 main things you should really be interested in, and these all work hand in hand, so I urge you to watch to the end because the 4th one brings it all together. Now, starting with the profit margins, because let's be honest, that's why we're all here. Very big traders have been noted to be receiving 4 to 5% per week off of their trades. That's 4 to 5% of $100,000, which is 4 to 5 grand every single week, and compounding. And it's very common that people don't keep stacking up value in their accounts because, well, they need to get paid as well as risk. So on the high end, we can pretty safely say you'll be receiving 4 to 5 grand per week, which let's say is 15 to 20K per month, and then yearly that's going to be $180,000 to $240,000 a year. That's a stupid amount of money for trading skins in a video game. But I'm sure you're already asking, 100 grand is a lot to have invested in a video game to trade and flip items constantly. And yes, that is completely true, but we can just shorten this down to a smaller scale. Let's say you have $10,000, $5,000, even $1,000. With time and getting skilled enough in trading, I think you could get consistent enough rates between 2 to 3% weekly. The only reason you can't really get up to 4 to 5 is just purely because of volume. 100 grand inventories will have more profit coming in. And so using the same logic, if you're curious about how much you could be making, just take your inventory value or whatever starting capital you're planning on putting in and multiplying it by 0.02 or 0.03, and that's what you can expect to make weekly. And if you're really skilled, 0.04 to 0.05. So if you imagine that's $1,000 inventory, you're going to be making anywhere from $20 to $30 a week. And that's after fees, by the way, which is normally around 2% per trade. And so $30 is not a lot. And if you've ever tried looking for deals, you know it takes a lot of time and arguably not worth the $30 for the time you put in. So that brings me beautifully to my second point, and that's how much starting capital you actually have. The main reason the starting capital is important is because when you have enough items that you're constantly flipping, you're almost circumventing the trade ban because you're constantly having a flow in and out of cash. Let's say you have a very standard looking graph. Starts at the bottom left, goes up, down a little, and then up even higher to the right. Let's say as a small trader, you only have enough money to buy one skin, and you buy it right in that middle where it's at its peak and about to go down. Once the trade ban is up, you are at a net loss, and you have either 2 options. You can either sell it off for that loss and just tank it, or you can wait even longer hoping it will go up, which can significantly impact your compounding on your principal. And then you compare that to a massive trader who's constantly buying and selling as the chart goes up, down, and then up even higher, he will be at a net profit. And so I think you can understand where the issue lies. Meaning I'd recommend around a $750 to $1,000 starting capital. Anything under that is definitely possible to work with, but it's going to be quite frustrating because you'll be at the mercy of the market at all times. And then another detriment for those with a low starting capital that you won't often hear is the liquidity of items that you're looking for. For things that are under $500, let's say, it's going to be much more popular because so many more people can afford it, meaning the profit margins are going to be way slimmer because those deals are way harder to come by simply because you're competing with way more people than if you're looking for a $2,000 item, which again makes it even harder to grow from nothing. Which brings me to my third point, and that is the amount of time. Time is a big factor in 2 ways. 1, you have to look for good deals, and 2, you have to wait for trade bans. With the first one, looking for good deals does take a long time. While it may be simple, because the market is so popular, it's very saturated, meaning sometimes it can take me hours at a time just to find items below 96% of buff, and then when I do find them, sometimes I have to be willing to fork over potentially thousands of dollars in a matter of seconds, hoping that I get it before someone else does, which can be brutal on the mental, no doubt about it. So if you do end up doing that, I'd recommend just throwing up a show, throwing up some YouTube videos, and just keep on scrolling, finding good deals, and you will get better at it with time. And the second way that time is a big impact is for those, again, with low capital. If you're reliant on the money from a sale to make your next profitable trade, it's going to inhibit your compounding of your inventory a lot. If you're only able to make 1 to 2 trades a week, you can kiss that 4 to 5% a week goodbye. It's not happening. And so unless you're an absolute demon at finding good trades, I would argue it's not even worth your time to invest into it. While you may be working a good technically hourly rate for the amount of time you spent searching to buying skins and making money, the amount of time you'll spend watching the market and staying up to date through YouTube videos and whatnot is not going to be worth it in the long run. Unless you have around $750 to $1,000 minimum, I really wouldn't worry about chasing profit margins that much. But to each their own. If you want to do that, by all means. Just, I personally don't like slave wages, but hey, that's just me, you know? Literally just go to your local McDonald's, pick up a job there, you'll be making more per hour. All of this sounds so grim. Makes it sound like a very difficult market to enter into and not worth your time. And while I would say that's true for low capital, it doesn't make it impossible. And that's for one very important reason, and that's compounding. 4 to 5% a week is good. 4 to 5% compounded weekly is absolutely insane. Just for realism's sake, we'll go down to 2%. Let's say you make 2% profit on your inventory every single week for an entire year. Let's say you start with $1,000. What do you think your inventory will be worth same day next year? Well, it's not too crazy. With a $1,000 startup, after a year of getting 2% weekly, you'll have made $1,711 and you'll be worth $2,711 total. And alright, that's not too incredible, but guess how much you'll make in the second year? Whatever you said, it's wrong. You'll make $4,638 and you'll be worth $7,350 around. Now, I hope you can see how strong this compounding is. Just imagine your third year, your fourth year. This is where it scales to be a lifetime adventure, but is absolutely not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a good way to get consistent return for a long extended time. You just have to be stupid committed to it. So when would you be able to make it your full-time job? Well, from around a $5,000 to $10,000 inventory starting range and being consistent with the trading, getting anywhere from 1.5 to 2%, you should be seeing close to the average salary of an American citizen at the 3-year mark on average. Which, if you think about how long it takes you to get into school and graduate and make money off of that, it's not a bad deal. And this is something you could do while working full-time or part-time at another job, because right, the market doesn't sleep. You could do this once you get home, and that is where the draw of trading comes into play. But before you go whipping out mommy's credit card and buying all the butterfly fades you see on the market, just remember it's going to take a lot of time and a stupid amount of consistent effort to get to that point. Otherwise, I'd recommend starting out very casually. I'd recommend just buying your favorite play skin and then listing it for a higher price. When it sells, repeat the process. And if you're feeling really confident, maybe go up to 1,000, 2,000, however much you're comfortable with. Just don't go headfirst into the deep end, because many people have tried it and it crashed and burned extremely quickly. So a part of the process of growing to that number that I've talked about is also learning along the way and staying really consistent. So in the words of Alex Hormozy, it's not that you're doing an extraordinary task, it's that you're doing an ordinary task for an extraordinary amount of time. And that's the mindset you should have going into this. I hope this video is useful. This is just some stuff I learned along the way of my casual trading career, and I thought I'd share it. Let me know your thoughts or tips or anything like that in the comments. I'd be happy to steal them myself. Other than that, just hit the subscribe, like button, you know, the YouTube things. And if you are curious about which marketplaces I use for trading, I have them all linked in the description, and they are my affiliate links, so I do get a bit of a kickback in full transparency, so I would appreciate it. But yeah, that's all. Bye-bye.